Let's get back to another story we've been following, the fight to stop a state takeover in Detroit. It appears that it's gaining momentum.
Dozens are expected to attend a protest later tonight in hopes of keeping an emergency manager out of the city. Fox News' Rup Raj live now with more on today's event. Rup?
Yeah, that's right. It's happening at 211 4th Street. That's basically near the federal area of Detroit. Of course, across from federal court, 211 4th Street today, 6 p.m. That's when protesters will be getting together. They say they're going to do a prayer vigil. They're praying that they can stop an emergency manager, but they're going to have to pray hard because this one is looking inevitable.
There's no doubt in my mind that an emergency manager is coming. We better figure out how to work with that person as opposed to against that person. And I think now that the state is going to do this, I think you need the state as your partner.
In this one-on-one interview with Fox 2's ML Elric Thursday morning, Mayor Dave Bing talking about the emergency manager prospect in the city. 5 critical days, that's how long the city council has to put a powerful argument together as to why Detroit doesn't need an emergency financial manager. A hearing on Tuesday in Lansing will give them 30 minutes to make their case. Municipal Attorney Patrick McCauley says their argument would have to be more than a little convincing.
I think that the governor's going to give them a fair and considered hearing, but my sense is they're really going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to convince the governor that his initial take on this was incorrect or that he ought to reconsider it.
The council voted on a resolution Wednesday appealing the state's declaration of a financial emergency in Detroit, setting the stage for the meeting on Tuesday, an appeal that the mayor wants no part of. He says the fight against an EM is over.
My sense is that he's going to give them a hearing and probably go forward with his conclusion that in fact there is an emergency in the city and that an emergency manager is the only solution at this point, Rup.
But does the council have legs to stand on with their appeal? McCauley says the governor likely won't change his mind, even with some council members saying this is a civil rights issue. What about the notion by some council people out there, including Joanne Watson, who equates an emergency manager to voter suppression?
I think it's an interesting argument. On the other hand, I think that the voters put this city council in place, and apparently, at least in the governor's mind, they haven't done the job. So the voters had an opportunity to put these folks in place, and I think the governor said, thank you, voters, for doing that, but I think we have to move in a different direction at this point.
And so basically you're talking about 2 different directions that people want to move in. The emergency manager that the governor basically says that's what this city is primed for, and also the mayor, who is not necessarily 100% behind getting an emergency manager, but he also is not going in the direction of a fight. He thinks an appeal will be futile. In the meantime, the city council members behind us, obviously they're going to continue this fight with 5 days left. That's when the big hearing will be happening at 10 a.m. in front of one of the treasurers over in Lansing. In the meantime, that protest, that prayer vigil is happening tonight at 211 4th Street at 6 p.m. We are live downtown. Rup Raj, Fox 2 News.